Let's take a look at this tune, Milestones. It's the old Milestones. To separate it from the more famous Miles Davis tune called Milestones, we usually refer to this one as old Milestones. So we'll learn this tune, and turns out it's not even by Miles Davis. I was researching in our Wikipedia, it's by John Lewis, I think, and somehow it got accredited to Miles Davis. If you know more about these things, please let us know in the comments. Also, I don't even know what album it is from. I think I've heard it from some Charlie Parker compilation. But anyway, so it's the old Milestones. It's kind of tricky tune. So it's we'll learn the head, the melody. It's kind of tricky and challenging, and also the changes are kind of challenging to solo over. So I'll talk about the melody, the chords, the harmony, how we can practice the chords, give you some ideas for that. And then we're gonna use cells to improvise, little musical ideas or idioms or whatever you want to call them, to help us maneuver through these kind of challenging changes of this tune. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? First off, let's learn the intro. So some people don't play the intro, but that's kind of lazy. If there is an intro, you should learn it. So it kind of sets up the tune nicely. So that was the intro, and let's learn the A section. So I have my metronome set to beat 2 and 4, and let's just learn the A section. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then that repeats. So those arpeggios, I'm kind of sweeping those. So it's not a fast tempo, but still we have to play those triplets kind of fast. So I'm using sweep picking for that. And moving on to the B section. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we play the A section again. So it is an A-A-B-A form. And as always, I put these notation and tabs on my Patreon page. Moving on to the chords. The first thing we'll do is to play the guide tones. So the 7 and the 3rd of C minor, and then the 3rd and the 7th of F. B flat, the 7th and the 3rd. Then I'm gonna jump here. One, two, three, 4. the A section. If I add bass notes or the root, it sounds like that. So obviously I'm not using any rhythm right now, I'm just playing on beat 1. So if you want to look into that, I have a video on jazz comping. I have several videos actually on that. Moving on to the B section, 2, 3, 4. Up with bass notes or the root. Something I like to do is to, instead of just adding the root, I will add the note, whatever note is on the bottom string. So on the C minor, the C, F7, I'll add the C there as well, which creates this chord. It could be a B2 if you think of it as a flat 5. B flat is the B flat on the bottom, E flat, I'll play the B flat again, the 5th, and then I jump here, play the 5th on the bottom, so I'm only playing whatever bass note I can grab on the bottom string. So it could be the 5th or the root, depending. You could think of these chords in different ways. This first chord, for example, the C minor 7. You could think of that as what we just did, the guide tones, the 3rd and the 7th, and added bass notes. Or you could think of it as a drop 2 with the 5th omitted. The next chord, the F7, would be this chord, right? The second inversion of a drop 2 F7 with the root omitted. So these chords are kind of tricky. The 2 5s are moving up, which makes it kind of, it's not really a diatonic harmony, functional harmony. It kind of is. It's in B flat, I guess, the tune, but it's also not non-functional harmony. It's somewhere in between. So you can't really solo just using the key. You have to kind of find ways to outline these moving harmonies. And we're going to talk about that, but a good way to start is to kind of really internalize the harmonic movement. So we're going to look at one more technique, which is what I call a Rosenwinkel technique. So imagine that we play drop 2 on the bottom set of strings. Root position. Root position. So what I'm doing, I'm playing drop 2 voicings with voice leading on the bottom set of strings. But we're going to do this, we're going to divide, look at the first one, C minor 7, into 2 different things. This, the root and the flat 7, and the 5th and the 3rd. So I'm not gonna bar, I'm gonna play it like this. Like 2 shapes. And then I'm gonna play the F7 like this. So root and 7, 5th and 3rd. here. Let's do that slow. This is 100 beats per minute, and the metronome click is on every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is this famous video from a workshop with Kurt Rosenwinkel, or a clinic in Gdansk in Poland. And I've made a video about this before, and I will link to that, where he shows this technique, and then I think that video disappeared, and it pops up again, and people make transcriptions of what he's playing there. He's doing this, he's using this technique over Body and Soul, which is a much chordier tune, so it's kind of tricky. But it's basically this idea, which is really interesting, and you can combine it with a melody. If I play, for example. So it's a good way to kind of really internalize these chord changes. By the way, that move, the C minor to the C sharp minor, it's really weird. Like it's... And just on a side note, I like to do this whenever I play major 7 with this technique. So I establish the chord there, and then I do this. Play the sharp 5, because it's kind of a surprise, right? So... Alright, let's move on to some soloing ideas. We're going to use cells. What do I mean by that? Little fragments, idioms, musical ideas that you can use that outline a chord. So instead of just playing the chord tones of... we're going to use little cells that kind of gives us that chord. So I have a few favorites. One is this. So I think of that from the tune Fascinating Rhythm. Another one is this, which is from the tune Round About Midnight. Or you could think of it from Mr. Sandman. So these are little jazz phrases that gives us the chord. So what we're gonna do, first, every time there's a minor chord, there are 3 types of chords. 3 chord types in this tune: minor 7 chords, dominant, and major 7. So for the minor 7, I'm going to play 1, flat 3, 2, 1. And for the dominant, I'm going to play 1, flat 7, 6, 5. And then for the major 7, I'm going to play 1, 3, 2, 1. If I do that over these changes, I get this. So let's try to do that with the backing track. This backing track I just found on YouTube, so I'll link to that as well. So this is the intro. Here we go. what you can try to do this, try to improvise using these phrases, just kind of edit them. Maybe something like this. You could also start from the third. So it's kind of a harmony of it. And then start on the third and go down on the dominant chord. And then gonna play like this on the major 7. 3, 5, 2, 1. On dominance 3, 2, 1, flat 7. 3, flat 3, 5, 4, flat 3. So like this. Was swapping. So like this. Alright, so let's listen to that with the backing track. Another nice one is to go down from the minor chord. So 5, 4, flat 3, 2. And then on the dominant flat 7, 2, 6, 5. And then I play 5, 3, 2, 1 on the major chord. So kind of tricky fingerings there. Let's give that a listen over the backing track, shall we? Let's do one more, the around midnight. So going up the arpeggio of -7 chord, and then I go down scale from the 3rd on dominant chords. With the backing track, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. So the voice leading there is kind of bad. Maybe better to go instead of. But this wasn't a lesson on voice leading. It's just to give you an idea of how you can use these little cells to kind of outline the harmony, because you can hear the chords go by, right? So I didn't put the tabs in there because that wouldn't make any sense. That's the whole exercise. The whole point of that exercise is to know how the notes relate to the chords. So if you don't know what those tones are, then the exercise is useless. So the tabs don't really help there. With the melody and the fingerings, the tab is kind of useful, I think. So again, that stuff is on my Patreon page. So that was my lesson on Milestones. So if you want some more stuff like this, you can check out my video on Rosenwinkel idea, and I will link to that. And also maybe check out my video on how to play chord tones on Blues for Alice, so kind of a similar idea. So with all that, as always, I want to thank you for your time and attention, and I shall see you next time.